Hi, thank you all for coming today to the Law Enforcement Community Panel discussion hosted by Movement Forward's One Cop initiative.
It's a very simple idea, is that when people are able to connect with each other, when there's able to be open dialogue, when people are able to hear different perspectives, that you create a stronger and a safer community. It's just very simple.
Law enforcement. 1, 2, 3 bad officers should not define law enforcement officers as a whole. Officers do not begin their day having or wanting to defend their duty. How many arrests can we make? Quotas, or in worst cases, scenarios of police brutality.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chief Hudson. And let me say as well, again, just how thrilled we are, as the faith community, to be able to sit down and speak with the Clarkston Police Department. So thank you for coming out.
And Chief Hudson may remember this, that when the Blue News community had a concern about policing, is that we brought in the police department along with the Blue News leaders and some of the members of their community, and they was able to touch and feel the police officers to know their hearts, and therefore to remove that fear that if trouble do come, I have a friend in the police department.
In general, but just generally speaking, what are some of the most difficult challenges that the Clarkston Police Department faces here in this community? And the reason why I'm asking the question is, as we listen to your response, I hope everyone here will be processing, all right, so what could we do to help make that better? So what are some of the most difficult challenges that the Clarkston Police Department faces?
I think the most difficult challenge is that the police officer faced here in the city of Clarkston is the language and the culture. We have a diverse community. I mean, people from different countries. We don't know their cultures,
So as you all are familiar with, we have a big case of mental health patients or individuals in the Clarkston area that we serve. And coming from an immigrant family as well, my family comes from Somalia, so there's a lot of PTSD and trauma related to that as well. And also, Chief Hudson, like you mentioned, you were in Iraq, and you see how the police is done in third world countries.
Yes, ma'am.
People see it as a threat. We fear the police. I grew up fearing the police.
And what I would like to say, and what I'll even suggest to you specifically within your community, is if, I know we're always there if you guys want to come talk to us, but I also understand because of backgrounds and cultures, coming to the police department is not comfortable, number one. Interacting with the police officer is not comfortable, number two. And I do recognize that. So if you want to host us, or if you would like to put on, say, a 2-hour training for your community specifically, I'll be more than happy. I'm sure Lieutenant Haygood, myself, Chief Hudson, and Officer Corrala, as well as anyone else in my agency, I'll even come in civilian clothes and leave my gun in the car.
Dr. King and his generation changed the face and the course of America and the trajectory of human rights because they operated with a fundamental premise that their intent was not to defeat their enemies, but to transform their adversaries into allies. And until we accept that mantle of leadership, that our objective is not to defeat the police, it's not to have our perspective elevated over theirs. Unless we want to win for humanity instead of fighting for humanity, we'll continue to have circular conversations. The issue of systematic racism is real. 400 years of organized oppression and slavery have worked a number on the mindsets of people of every color. It's worked a number on the minds of white Americans because it has given us a community and a nation and a world where there is a such thing as quote-unquote white privilege. But the question is, what good does it do to throw a Molotov cocktail and use inflammatory language if using that kind of inflammatory language stops the discussion and therefore stops progress? We cannot expect law enforcement officers like this wonderful young man that sits to my right to fix 400 years worth of challenges that our nation has addressed. It has got to be much, much deeper than police officers. The issues that we must change in America have to happen at the highest levels of our government. They have to happen in our private industry. They have to happen in our faith community, in our schools, in our homes. But we have to eat an elephant one bite at a time. And we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, which is why in conversations like this are so important. Leadership in the social change context requires wisdom, judgment, and the recognition that other people feel just as strongly about their perspective as you feel about yours. The most essential and important element of leadership is wisdom. And the most important and difficult thing about wisdom is the acceptance of timing. The most important thing about being wise is being wise with timing. The time is now to come together, to lay aside whatever differences we might think we have, because in doing so, we'll find that there's more that unites all of us than there is that divides us. And if we focus on our commonalities first, there is no limit to the good that we can achieve if we work together. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for coming. God bless all of you and have a good night.